What's up, my fellow Americans? My name's Iggy, and this is the Iggy Show, and today we're talking about voting rights. So as you may know, there's a battle in the Senate ensuing regarding the voting bill H.R. 1, or also known as For the People Act. In December, Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, spelled defeat for Joe Biden's and the Democrats' legislative blockbuster agenda, the Build Back Better plan. What this plan would do, according to him, it would raise the deficit, increase inflation in the current state of affairs in America, where I can't even get a piece of steak unless I pay 20.1% ahead of what I was paying in last year. Don't even mention gas prices, and print trillions of dollars into the economy. So he decided not to vote for that plan. Now the Democrats are left scrambling for a legislative win before the 2022 midterm elections, and they set their sights on, yes, H.R. 1, the voting bill. So, what does this bill do, you may ask? Well, it would shift the elections from being ran by the states, as the Constitution appropriates for, to a federal election system. The problem, you may ask? It leaves our election system very susceptible to attacks. A foreign or domestic attack or hack on our election system would be more likely to succeed on one federal system than it would be in the current system that has thousands of jurisdictions across the 50 states that have their own procedures when it comes to elections. Because, you know, an attack on these would have to go through all these different ones instead of focusing on one, which is what they want to do. Also, this H.R. 1 bill would allow for ballot harvesters to go and knock on people's doors and solicit votes. A person would be able to give their ballot to anyone for them to just drop it off at the official poll location. And you can already see why that would be an issue, right? So yeah, Joe Manchin says he does not want to support this bill either, spelling a premature defeat for the Democrats. Why? Because it's not about bipartisan support. He says this is a very partisan bill, and that is not how we reform our election systems. Also, Kristen Sinema doesn't even want to vote in favor of eliminating the filibuster, which would allow Democrats to get to this voting bill by a simple majority. Why? Because again, it's not very bipartisan. It's just based on the passions of the current Congress, and it would affect America's election security. So now we go to a state called New York and a city called New York. What's going on in New York? Non-citizens are now able to vote for mayoral elections, meaning for mayor or any other local elections. That's 800,000 citizens as of 2023 will be able to vote for mayor, and the requirement is they have to live 30 days in New York City, meaning me, someone from Florida, my girlfriend, my friend, someone who has nothing to do with New York, can just go live there for 30 days and we can vote in a state we have no attachment to or anything of the sort. But you know, why would this happen, you may ask? Because it fits their agenda. Think about it. They want these people to vote. They want non-citizens to vote because it would just cement their stronghold on a blue state. So it's kind of ironic because where these non-citizens come from, like countries like Nicaragua, Bolivia, whatever, you gotta be a citizen of that country to vote in that country. You see, I'm Colombian. I can't go to Colombia without being a Colombian citizen and vote for the president there. I can't do that. So why should they do that here? You know, I know why they want to do it, but whatever. When it comes to a voter ID, over the past few years, the left has been raising alarms of, oh, the new Jim Crow, or racist, suppressing minorities. Well, let me tell you, well, that's not the case. So Stanford University, one of the biggest and most liberal universities in the United States, released a study called Comments on Voter Identification Laws and the Suppression of Minority Votes. And it says, quote, widespread concern that voter identification laws suppress turnout among racial and ethnic minorities has made empirical evaluations of these laws crucial. But problems with administrative records and survey data impede such evaluations. You know, we keep going. We show the results of the paper are a product of data inaccuracies. The presented evidence does not support the stated conclusion that it's suppressing minority voters. We go on later on, and it says, The effect of the laws is hard to isolate because 85 to 95% of the national voting eligible population possess valid photo identification. So those with ID dominate over time comparisons of the state level turnout. That's obvious. Most people have a photo ID. It says 85 to 95% of people have photo ID. You need a photo ID to drive. Why not vote? Let me tell you, I can relate in a way to college students. So in college, let's just say you have math, right? And or stats or whatever, and you have a test and you really can't pass it, and you're gonna fail your class if you don't pass it. So what people do is they pay someone to take their test. But guess what? No, liberal academia has safeguards against that. They do. It's called asking for a photo ID to prove that the person is who they say they are. So I can't pay someone else to go and take the test for me because they're gonna ask them for a photo ID. But you can't do that with something as important as elections? Come on. They would never violate the sanctity of the voting box, of the ballot box. Oh no. Of course they would. If they're trying to win an election to run what goes on in this country, obviously they're going to send someone else. Look, I'm going to put something up on the screen right now. There's states that don't even require, as of 2021, don't even require a document to vote. New York, no document required to vote. Massachusetts, no document required to vote. California, New Jersey, Oregon, you don't even require a document to vote. Other states, if you don't have a photo ID, they'll check against some signatures. For example, Florida, you can vote without a photo ID, but you need identification. And then they're gonna cross-reference with other signatures. And some states do require strict photo ID, like Georgia, Kansas, Arkansas. But it's crazy that in Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and California, states with mass populations, you don't even need an identification to vote, but to take a college test, you do. To drive, you do. Come on. So, Senator Kevin Cramer from North Dakota, a Republican, came up with a solution, All right. So he says, right now with the vaccine passports, you can't go to a McDonald's in New York City and eat a Big Mac without showing your vaccine passport. You're screwed if you don't got one. You can't go in San Francisco and eat In-N-Out Burger and have a shake, a good old vanilla shake without a vaccine passport. So he says, okay, we'll support the vaccine passports, but you guys support the voter ID. But guess what? He just exposed the hypocrisy. No one wants to support that because they're all hypocrites. It doesn't fit their agenda. Come on. So pretty much, that's what's going on.